Luis Ortiz has hit out at Tyson Fury for choosing Derek Chisora as his next opponent. He said, quote, "I think even less of the big Dosa Fury. He claims to want to fight the best. He says Joshua didn't want to fight him and that Usyk didn't want to fight him." He goes on to say, "He went down the line of the top 10 on BoxRec and didn't pick me because I came off a loss. Give me a break. You just passed me over because you saw that I went 12 rounds and was only getting better in the late rounds. I was ready for 15 rounds, but it's okay. It just makes you look bad that you pass on me to fight Chisora, who has 12 losses. This blows my mind. I think Fury should feel embarrassed to move forward with this fight. If you want to fight a real fight, I'm here, you big Dosa. So stop calling fighters out and then choose the easy pickings." So those are the words of Luis Ortiz. Now, I've never bought this idea that Luis Ortiz is a top 5 heavyweight. This kind of stuff that the Wilder fans and a lot of the Fury fans were peddling for so long. I never bought this idea because who has Luis Ortiz ever beat? Nobody. He beat Brian Jennings way back in the days, and since that, he's beaten no one. That's literally all he has on his resume. So I always felt as though he was overrated, and overrated doesn't mean he's a bad fighter because so many people use the term overrated as a pejorative, but I don't use it that way. I use it to mean what it literally is, which is that a fighter or somebody is not as good as the general consensus would have you believe. It doesn't mean they're bad. Luis Ortiz is a good fighter. He has a good set of skills. He's obviously old as the pyramids at this point, and his punch resistance seems to be waning, to say the least, but he's still a good fighter, and he's a fighter who Tyson Fury has never beat before. And if Tyson Fury is using the excuse that Luis Ortiz is coming off a loss and therefore he doesn't want to fight someone coming off a loss, how do you explain then trying to fight Anthony Joshua, who's not coming off 1 loss, he's coming off 2? And Luis Ortiz's loss was against Andy Ruiz, who beat Anthony Joshua. So you can't say that, oh, Ortiz lost to some bum or something, so I don't want to fight somebody that just lost to a bum. No, he lost to Ruiz, who also beat AJ, stopped him. So again, if Tyson Fury is using that as an excuse, got to shake my head again. I would certainly rather see Tyson Fury fight Luis Ortiz than him fight Derek Chisora for a 3rd time. He already beat Chisora twice convincingly years ago when Chisora was in his prime, stopped him in his prime. Why on earth would we want to see him fight Chisora for a 3rd time when Chisora's clearly past it and Fury is probably close to his own prime right now? That's just a recipe for an even more one-sided fight than the first 2 were. Now, it is heavyweight boxing. Maybe some random thing could happen and Chisora lands a big shot and causes an upset. Yeah, things like that can happen in heavyweight boxing, but that can happen in any fight. That could happen if he fought Luis Ortiz. If we're talking in terms of probabilities, what's the probability of Derek Chisora even being competitive against Tyson Fury? I think unless Tyson Fury goes in there and he's just having a laugh, you know, like he was against Sefer Safiri, we're just moving around and it's all just an absolute circus, which it might turn out to be, given the fact these 2 guys were buddies for a long time. And Tyson Fury, I'm sure, is cognizant of all the criticism this fight is getting. Maybe he'll go in there and turn it into a circus, you know, give Derek Chisora a chance to hit him and do all the messing around and all this kind of thing. And that kind of stuff is more entertaining when you're fighting everybody. When Muhammad Ali used to do all that stuff, he was doing it against people he'd never fought before. Like when he faced Ernie Shavers, who was a tremendous puncher. And Ali was towards the end of his career. And he's clowning in the ring and he's, you know, polishing the top of Ernie Shavers' bald head and all this kind of thing. Yeah, all that stuff is funny when you're actually fighting everybody. Not when you're recycling an opponent you already beaten twice before. And that's not funny. That's just, it feels like you're taking the mick out of the public with fights like this, you know? So yeah, I would much prefer to see him fight Luis Ortiz than Derek Chisora. At least we haven't seen him fight Ortiz before. And I would expect Tyson Fury to beat Ortiz. But it would just be more interesting. Yeah? And there are several other people in even the WBC top 15. I'm not sure if the reason Luis Ortiz is given here is actually the truth. But I'm just saying, if that is the case, then it's a poor reason to skip over Ortiz because he's coming off this loss, because you're willing to fight AJ coming off 2 losses. Yeah? And again, fighting Chisora, who you've already beaten twice before. There were several other people, which I went over in a previous video, who Tyson Fury could fight in the WBC top 15, but is choosing not to. Poor stuff. And I fully understand the idea of a tune-up before an undisputed fight, but an undisputed fight is not locked in. For all we know, Tyson Fury could go in a different direction. The guy contradicts himself so often that it's hard to know when he's actually being serious. Most of the time he's not, but occasionally he is. He's not lying every single time. There is the odd occasion where Tyson Fury tells the truth. And I hope it's with regards to the Usyk fight happening next. But you can't have much faith in him given his track record. Yeah? And even if it does happen next, the Chisora fight shouldn't be a WBC title fight. It shouldn't be on pay-per-view. And why are you fighting this guy anyway when there are other people you could fight instead? Who really you should be beating, I don't want to say as comfortably as you would beat Chisora, but somewhere close to that. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about Luis Ortiz calling out Tyson Fury on, I guess what he believes is his BS, skipping over him, in his words, not mine, in his words, because he's coming off a loss, to fight Derek Chisora. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high-quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, it's decentralized, and it's 100% censorship-free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.